All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Tofu Bandit. Today we will be doing a BT-11 set analysis. We'll be going through each card uh, piece by piece, diving into its usefulness, what deck archetypes it might fit in, whether it's generic, and then we will also be throwing in a little bit of an analysis for some of these cards that will be good in your sealed formats, like your pre-release stuff. So that way, not every card is bad. It's just some cards have different viability based on different um, you know formats that you might be playing in, such as sealed, where vanilla cards actually have a lot more value in those particular formats. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start off with Yokomon. On deletion, if you have a red tamer in play, draw one. Um, in face value, this is not a very good generic rookie. It does fit pretty well in the vaccine draw engine for the Phoenixmon archetype that you'll see later on, being that you can activate that not just on deletion. So good for that particular archetype, but not a very good generic egg overall. So I would have to say this is probably one of those, like, you keep your playset if you are going to run the Biomon tribal deck, but other than that, you're never going to see this card. Wanyamon, when attacking once per turn, if you have a blue tamer in play, draw a card. This is fantastic. Fits very well into the blue flare, which is a list where their eggs are. You're pretty much always going to run four of the Upamon, and then your fifth egg is kind of like the Baby Domon. But now this Wanyamon can definitely give a run for money for either one of those cards, because your goal was to have your Kyria out anyway. So definitely going to be seen in the blue flare decks, as well as just blue decks in general, because most blue decks want to have like a Sorjo or a Davis. So Tamers are very, very prevalent in blue decks in general, so this you will see a lot of. Um, any of these eggs that have to do with Tamers, while they are going to have some use in a sealed format, Tamers do take up a rare slot, so and with a six-pack build, you're probably not going to see too many Tamers, especially on the field, and then also seeing this egg. So like that's one of those. This is probably not going to be something you'll see a lot of value out of, but it's an egg, so if you see it in a pre-release, you're going to run it anyway. Tokomon. Once per turn, when you play an Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in this traits, draw one. This is okay. It's draw power in the angel list, so if you're playing value angels or like Mastemon or something like that, that tends to like pass turn by hard playing a 7-cost angel or a 6-cost angel. Definitely can see some value out of that. Yellow doesn't have the best generic eggs anyway. Most of them are pretty just reliant on how much security you have. So having a non-security reliant draw engine, even if it is archetype specific, is still pretty good. Again, it's an egg, so you'll definitely run it if you get it in the pre-release. Tanamon, if you have a green tamer, draw one when you play a green tamer. So this one is a lot more specific and a lot harder to reach, because it's a once per turn, and usually when you play a tamer, you're going to pass your turn anyway. This is probably the worst egg that we've seen so far, and we'll probably not see play in any green deck that I'm aware of, just because like if you're playing a green deck, your goal is to either go wide or digivolve up, and you're usually only going to play like 1 to 2 Mimis a game, and there's just better ways to draw cards with Gummymon. So this is definitely the worst egg we've seen so far. Koromon, trying to give black-based Greymon archetypes a chance once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is deleted. If this Digimon's name contains Greymon, draw a card, so giving black-based Agumon and Greymon Tribal a draw engine. While it is good, it is still a harder draw mechanic to reach versus the BT4 Koromon. That's just when you attack with a Digimon with Greymon in name, draw a card. So the restriction is still more stiff. So definitely, it gives black a chance, but it's still not going to be able to outcreep red base and red eggs for the Greymon line. But if you want to go with a black base, this is definitely the egg you want to look at. Sunamon, once per turn. When you trash a card from your hand by an effect, this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP for the turn. It's okay. Uh, Most purple decks don't really care about DP because they mainly have retaliation or some sort of an abusing effect, or just want to straight up die in security anyway to gain value. So the effect is easy to achieve. Pitching cards from hand is super easy in purple. It's just the plus 1,000 DP is not really going to come up too often, unless you have this on top of the Ogremon that when you trash it gains Sec +1. But again, it's just a very niche card. Starting off with the Biomon in our rookies. On play, reveal the top 3 cards. Add 1 red Digimon card with vaccine in its traits and 1 red tamer from among them to your hand. Place them in any order. And then if you have a red tamer in play, gain 1 memory on deletion. While the on deletion effect is pretty niche overall, except in this particular deck archetype, the on play search 3 cards, add a red vaccine is actually really, really good, considering that a lot of really good red cards are vaccines anyway, unless you're counting the Gallantmon stuff, but also being able to search your red tamers. So this is actually a card you can run in a lot of other decks that are struggling to have searchers. Definitely something that you can look at for generic value. This is not a card that you're going to get a ton of value out of in a pre-release. It's searching for a specific color with a specific type and a specific tamer. And again, in a pre-release with a lot of card pool, that's just going to be hard to achieve. So it is a rookie, but you're probably going to want to look elsewhere in a sealed environment if you can, for a rookie Digimon. Next up, we have Bearmon. Once per turn, when the attack of this target changes, it gains plus 3,000 DP. So this plays into the new raid mechanic that's been added that allows you to, when you swing, redirect the attack. Really, really good if you're going with a raid strategy. It is also a red vaccine, so it is searchable off of the previously mentioned Biomon. So a little bit of synergy there. Definitely just a good rookie to have, being 2,000 DP versus the 1,000 that we saw previously. And if you hit one of the higher level raid Digimon, definitely something. Getting an extra 3,000 DP in a pre-release setting is nothing to sneeze at. So it definitely has some value there. Shoutmon Star Sword. It's treated as Shoutmon and Starmons, which is good for your cross mechanics. Has material save, so you'll be able to save either your Shoutmon or your Starmons under your tamer. And then on play, one of your Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP. And then if Digicrossing with 2 cards, delete one of your opponents with Digimon with 2,000 DP or less. So if you full cross this to play it for 1, or play it for, it's Digicross -1. So you'll be playing this for 3 if you do the full cross. So you have a 4 cost, a 4,000 DP Digimon that can potentially nuke a 5k or lower if you do the full cross and then material save, but then it also counts as a Shoutmon for future stuff. So this is definitely a piece that you'll probably see a lot of, trying to mend some of the holes that Crosshearts suffered during the ban list. This is probably one of the worst cards, that in this format, the pre-release format, just because it is a 4,000 DP rookie, and it can digivolve, since it does technically have a digivolve for 0 on level 3s, and since there's not color restrictions in pre-releases, this is something you can just digivolve on one of your rookies just to give it a quick power boost. But again, tamers are going to be in short supply, so you're not really going to get your material saves. There's also not a Starmons in this format, so you're not going to get in this set, so you're not going to get, to my knowledge. Let me scroll down, make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, there's not a Starmons in this set, so you're not going to be able to even fulfill the entire Digicross. So probably one of the less likely candidates in your deck build should you pull it. We get our first raid Digimon. When it attacks, you can switch target to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. So kind of a Black War Greymon or Metal Greymon effect, allowing you to attack unsuspended Digimon. This would have been really nice during the D-Reaper areas. But hey, we all got to go somewhere. It also has the same inherited as the Bearmon, so just stacking up that DP, allowing you to swing over those big bodies. This will be, if you have the Bearmon underneath of it, will be an 8K. So it's swinging over a lot of level 5s, all level 4s, and all level 3s, so allowing you to consistently clear the board, which is board control is wide board control, and being able to attack unsuspended things is something that Red really needs without having, because it doesn't really want to dedicate its big high costing removal to delete the smaller or even medium level bodies. You don't want to pay 8 to delete a level 5. It'd be a lot easier just to swing over it, since DP is not something that Reds suffer from. Again, it is a vaccine, so again, more synergy with the Biomon. So I definitely think if you go with the new raid deck with this Bearmon line, Biomon is definitely a card you want to play. It's a 5k DP, 5 to play, so definitely something to look forward to in a pre-release setting as well. Next up, we have Bergermon. It is a blocker in red with 5k, 2 to Digivolve. It does not have the normal attacking restriction of losing memory, so this is one you can free swing with as well, which is an interesting interaction with blockers. Usually you see that on higher end, like Mega Digimon and such. It has the on-deletion effect if you can play a red tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. Again, plays into the on-deletion strategy of its Digimon archetype. It is also a red vaccine. Again, playing into the Biomon. Everything that fits into this line will be that red vaccine. It also will let you play out that tamer, but also red ties. Pretty much any red tamer that we've seen so far. And it is just red, so it is you could also play the Sora Mat, because it is technically a red tamer, so red dual colors are also something that you'd be able to play with this on deletion. And this is more of a more generic on deletion, because you only need it to pop off once, not something that you need to abuse like the Game 1 memory. In a pre-release, it's a blocker, so definitely that's probably one of the most sought after cards in a pre-release is blockers, because they're just priceless. Next, we have Shoutmon Cross 3, Material Save 2, Shoutmon, Ballistamon, and Darulamon. The only Shoutmon you're going to be able to cross with pretty much anything with cross hearts, at least in this format, is probably something you should shy away from, just because it's basically just you're going to be digivolving on top of it. It's not going to be something that you're going to be getting a lot of value or be able to abuse, because the pieces are a lot fewer in this particular set. It does have start of the turn. You can delete it to gain a memory, which, on play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 2 cards with Cross Heart or Blue Flare in their traits from among them. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck. You're not going to hard play this a 6k for 7. If you have the Shoutmon, you could play it for 5. But there's not a Ballistamon or a Darulamon in this set, so you're only ever going to get the reduction by 1. So definitely not something that's worth it. Potentially, in the new in a Cross Heart deck, this is definitely a level 4 you can look at to take the place of Cross 4. Next, we're on to level 5s in red. That's going to be Garudamon. Again, a blocker. So, high priority target in sealed formats. It doesn't have a when attacking restriction. It's a bit redundant, at least in its own archetype line. Giving blocker, but then its previous form also had blocker. So it's a redundancy that isn't super valued. It's kind of like you would play one or the other. And it also has the exact same on deletion cost. So this is literally just a redundancy and just a slight upgrade on the Bergermon. So this is a card I would probably play one or the other. I probably wouldn't play both, because if you have it in the same line, cool, I can play 2 tamers. But when are you ever, as a player, when have you ever had 2 of the same color tamer in your hand to be able to pop that off consistently? So I think that the redundancy is but in a pre-release setting, this is definitely a card you want, because a 7k blocker is very, very nice. Next, we have Grappleomon with a raid ability. So same thing. When it attacks, you can attack unsuspended. Inherited effect: when you attack the target, when it changes, you get to trash top card of your opponent's security stack. So if you get the Marsmon that'll in this line, which again, searchable off the Biomon, all that good stuff, you can gain 6,000 DP if you have the full line. You can gain 6,000 DP and trash the top card of your opponent's security stack just off of your inheritables, and still be able to swing over Digimon. So you're safely checking cards and swinging over Digimon, which is incredible. In a pre-release setting, it has raid, so if you've got any of the previous levels underneath of it, it's going to be swinging for at least 10k. So you're swinging over pretty much everything your opponent can put on the board, unless it is another level. It is a level 6. But other than that, you're swinging over everything. And then it's inheritable. You're never going to get use out of in this format, in a sealed format, unless you pull the Marsmon. But if you do, definitely a card you want to look at. And it isn't uncommon, so it's not going to be something that shows up all the time. Overall, very good in its archetype, and as long as we continue to get raid support, this will be a card you want to have a playset of, just for whenever a new raid boss monster gets released. Next we have Omni Shoutmon. Digivolves from 4 from Shoutmon, so it can Digivolve from the Shoutmon Star Sword for 4 if you decide to play it. It's also treated as Shoutmon in Digicross, so it can be used to cross with Star Sword if you wanted to. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a 4,000 DP or less. If this Digimon is Shoutmon and its Deletion cards, delete 2. And then it has on deletion, save. So it saves itself, not its materials. While this Digimon is Shoutmon in its name, it gains security attack +1. So something that you technically could do is use this Shoutmon with your Shoutmon Star Sword to give your Shoutmon Star Sword security attack +1. So you could be swinging a 4K sec +1 in a pre-release format. I definitely think this is a card that you could think about running in cross art decks, just because its name counts as Shoutmon. It also gives you a level 5 to go into, and also you can just, if you do Digivolve with a Shoutmon, it lets you kill 2 other bodies, which is, I think, going to be really good if cross art comes back. As a staple, you'd be able to kill off multiple rookies. Yeah, it'll shove them under their tamers, but it clears off that early game pressure, which if you're trying to dig for your own tamers can be really, really good. Can be really, really needed. In a pre-release format, it's okay. It's an 8K that Digivolves for 3 and lets you kill a rookie. So I definitely think it's something that, if you get it, it's something you could play. You're not going to get any use out of its inheritable. More likely than not, you can, but it's not likely to happen. But just being able to Digivolve and delete a rookie in a sealed format is really good. Now we are to the level 6s. We are finally to the boss monster of the Biomon archetype. Phoenixmon. Once per turn, when a Digimon is removed from your opponent's security stack, or when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you can activate one of this card's on deletion effects, aka anything that is in this card's line. You'll be able to play a tamer or gain a memory. On deletion, you can play a red Digimon with bird, avian, beast, 4 sovereigns, or animal in one of its traits, except sea animal, and 3,000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory. And then for each red tamer you have in play, add 2,000 to the maximum DP. You're basically going to be playing rookies, maybe occasionally playing a level 5. But if you have enough tamers out to be able to play a 4 sovereign, then you've probably already won, because that's a lot of time. Because again, you're only using one of your on deletion effects, and that's only when you remove a security stack. So that means you have to survive the security check, then activate the on deletion to play a tamer, then on the following turn activate the on deletion to play a Digimon, or just play a Digimon and then hard play a tamer. So overall, this particular line I think is pretty weak, and very, very niche, and archetypal restricted, because there aren't too many good on deletion effects in red, mainly being in this Biomon line, and then having to have so many red tamers out just to be able to play bigger Digimon for free, but then also have this guy live, is going to be kind of difficult, because he's just an 11k, and at least if you're using this line, you're not getting any DP boosts. So if you want to take maximum advantage of its line, you're not. I would say this is a worse Aegisdramon, in my opinion. Worse fish deck overall. Next we have Marsmon. King Raid himself, he has Raid. He also has Blitz, so when Digivolving, you're guaranteed to be able to swing. When the target attack switches, unsuspend him and gain a memory for each red tamer you have in play. This is not something that you're going to see activated a lot in a pre-release, because again, that means you have to have specifically a red tamer in play. But if you're running this in a red raid deck with him as your boss monster, odds are you're probably playing the red tie to give additional security attacks for the times that you can't swing, maybe even the DP boost ties or things like that. So you odds are you'll probably have a tamer, which means you'll be able to swing twice, raid twice, and because if you're at 3 memory, yes, you pass over 4 when you swing, but then you can unsuspend, reset your turn, then swing again, and then theoretically you could, uh, you know, that's trashing 1 security when you swing. If you swing with the Grappleomon, so you could clear your opponent's biggest body. If you have the Grappleomon underneath, you trash the security card. Then you could swing Marsmon. If you have a tie in play, that's 2 more security checks, and it's for the turn with the Grizzlymon stuff, so that DP boost will carry over when you swing. So if you have his full line, that's plus 6,000 DP on your second swing. You're swinging 18k into your opponent's security, potentially with sec plus 1, if you have the tie out. So that's potentially a free trash of 1 security, checking 2 more, so your opponent is at minimum at 2 security, and since you're at 0 memory, you still have the option to go into Omnimon Blitz and swing again should you wish. Definitely think this is going to be an underrated Digimon archetype, especially since we know we're getting more raid support. This is kind of a new red mechanic going forward. So this is definitely a card I would have a set of just to build that particular deck archetype. So definitely a card I'm looking forward to, and definitely a sleeper pick in my opinion. Next, we are on to Shoutmon DX. It's traded as Omni Shoutmon, and Z Greymon, has Mat Save 2, and has the ability of on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP, and then one of your opponents, it stuns one of your opponent's Digimon, and then end of attack, you can delete it to gain 1 memory. You can potentially reduce its cost by 6 by including an Omni Shoutmon and a Z Greymon, so potentially playing it for 7. And then eh. Um, I mean, it's a neat boss monster, but I feel like it doesn't really fit into either deck. This is kind of one of those that, since it includes both cards, it does treat its name as Omni Shoutmon and Z Greymon, so it can cross for itself, which is interesting. But having to run multiple copies of this, like, it doesn't really fit into a Blue Flare deck or a Crossheart deck, just because like you're no, neither one of those decks can generate 7 memory. Um, like Blue Flare can if it has an ideal setup of like a Kiriha and a couple Sorajos or its memory boosts, but then you're playing this to delete an 8k, but it doesn't have Rush. So you're just playing a Digimon that, like, yes, it's a 12k, and yes, you played it for 7, but you're never going to want to on delete it because it just say it'll save the Z Greymon and the Omni Shoutmon. So what are you going to do? Play another one of these? Um, so I just think it's in a rough spot where it doesn't really have a home in either deck, and it's definitely not a card you're going to want to play in a pre-release. Next we have Cross 7, Big Daddy Boss Monster, supposedly for Blue Flare and Cross Arts. It does have Rush, which is nice. And it does have Digicross, Omni Shoutmon, Z Greymon, Ballistamon, all of the pieces. And it Digicrosses for 2 less on each. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So you can potentially play this for 2 if you have the whole thing. If you're playing this in Cross Hearts, it's pretty much a guarantee that you're going to run Shoutmon DX, not Z Greymon, because Z Greymon is more of a Digivolver, and so you'll probably run like a 1 of this and a 1 of this. But again, I mean, even if you don't run that, that's still you're playing. You could easily play this for 4 in a Crossheart deck, which is insane. And then it has delete one of your opponent's Digimon with less than or equal to DP than this Digimon, so it's a 13k. But then for every 2 cards in Digimon sources, it gains +1. So if you do an ideal stack of just playing it for 4, let's say you're not running the Omni Shoutmon, so you're playing it for a reduced cost of 2, 4, 6, 8, a reduced cost of 8, so you're playing it for 6, which you're probably going to pass turn, but you're going to delete something. and it's going to be something that's 15k or lower. So you're blowing up level 7s that aren't named Aryukin, Paladin Mode, or Omnimon X, which is insane. If you are running the one of Omni Shoutmon or a couple thereof, you can reduce that cost to 4, which would not cause you to pass turn with your tamers that you'll have in play, and then you'll be swinging a 15k with Rush and all of the other inherit abilities of Ballistamon, Darulamon, Starmons, and Sec +1 from the Omni Shoutmon. So definitely a solid finisher for the deck, and being able to consistently play this for 4 at the end game is insane. Again, you're not going to play this in a pre-release format, but definitely a boss monster for a Crossheart. I don't see this being played in Blue Flare either, because we're only ever going to be running the Z Greymon. This is going to cost way too much to actually get value out of the rush. Next up, we have Galmon, trying to bring back old Galmon and make it good. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon with Galgamon in its name, and 1 blue Tamer card from among them, trash the remaining cards. It's more restrictive than the Biomon, because it doesn't even need to include the blue, because Galgamons are all blue right now. Well, no, I guess there is the black Galgamon, so it doesn't even include its own archetypes. So I guess that's why they didn't include the color, just to be able to fetch the black stuff. But then you also have to get a blue. You can also get a blue tamer, and then you trash the remaining cards. So did the Biomon have trash as well? No, the Diamon shoves it to the bottom, so you lose these cards. You'll never see them again. Which blue has a pretty consistent draw power, so you're actually losing options overall. And then it has a when it's ecking, if you have a tamer in play, bounce level 3. This is a usable inheritable, but the on play I think is just so bad that like the inheritable definitely doesn't make up for it. This is in a pre-release format. This is basically just a trash 3. So I don't recommend this card, even in its own archetype. I think it's pretty bad. We have our vanilla 4K DP, 4K DP rookie. So it can, it might survive a couple checks when it swings. 0 to Digivolve, 3 to play. Vanilla. Good in a pre-release format. You're not ever going to see this in an actual deck. Dracomon. It is both Examon and Blue Flare support, which is phenomenal. Digivolve 0 from Babydemon, which is nice. But Blue Flare, it just has the Digivolve for 0 on blue anyway, so it doesn't really affect Blue Flare. Whenever you play Inheritable, whenever you play another Blue Flare or Drummon Digimon in its name, gain 1 memory. So if you Digivolved into, let's say, anything on top of this, and then you can play your Greymon for 3 or your Male Bergermon for 4, and then still get those effects and potentially not pass turn, which is really nice. And then also it has the exact. You also get a draw 1 when as its standard effect. So while it's on the field, and if you play your Greymon, it's a draw 1, then search the top 4. So you're searching 5 to find, and it's potentially a +3 when you play your Greymon for 4. Or when you if you want to risk it and you don't have a Kiriha in play when you play your Male Bergermon, it's going to let you draw a card and potentially get there. So definitely, really, it's insane in tandem with the other Blue Flare rookie Gaussmon, but by itself, it still gives you value because it can either give you memory or let you draw a card, which are both things that Blue Flare likes to have. We have our Vmon support. Reveal the top 3 cards, add 1 Digimon with Vdramon in its name, and 1 blue Tamer card from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Again, placing at the bottom of the deck and not trashing. So automatically better than Galmon here. And then inheritable whenever you play a blue Tamer, gain 1 memory. In the particular Vdramon line that this is going for, they love to have as many Tamers out as possible to be able to swing multiple times. So this is definitely an archetype key piece going forward. It's going to be a staple in the Vdramon decks for sure. In pre-release format, it's you're probably going to bottom deck 3 cards, and then you're probably not going to get a ton of value. So I would look elsewhere for rookies. Same with the Dracomon. At least Dracomon, if you pull multiple copies of itself, you can get extra draws. So this one is more useful than this one, I would say, in a pre-release. Next, we have Penguinmon. By placing 1 blue level 3 card or 1 Digimon card with Aqua Sea Animal in one of its traits from your hand at the bottom of this Digivolution cards. So you basically can just give yourself a level 3 inheritable, or you can shove like a Mega Seedramon or a Waymon or something crazy underneath there. which is really nice, and then it also lets you draw a card, and it's a 3K, so or a 3 cost. So you can digivolve this in raising if you need to, but if you play this, it just lets you give yourself an inheritable that can be definitely useful. I definitely see this being used maybe in lower quantities, but since it is unfortunately a bird and not an aqua type. So, but this definitely fits into the fish deck, so it's definitely something I would look at there. Has niche use in a pre-release format and then archetypal use. So overall, but it could pull off some cool gimmicks. Now we have Galgumon. Once per turn, if your opponent has 8 or more cards when attacking, gain a memory. You're probably not swinging with a 5K. So this effect is probably, if you're using this effect when your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand just to gain a memory, you're bad off. When inheritable, if you have a tamer in play, bounce a level 3. So I would say this is definitely more useful than the rookie, but again, it's meh. And they just continually make Galgam Online cards to be very meh. Hyogamon, we finally have blue Ogremon. Just a vanilla 5 to play, 1 to digivolve, so you'll see it in pre-releases, but that's about it. Feedramon, once per turn, when you play a tamer, draw a card. So this can stack with this guy. So you can once per turn, you can play your 4-cost tamers for 3 because you'll gain a memory off your Vmon, and then you'll also be able to draw a card to replace itself. And then it also has the inheritable of when you play a blue tamer, gain a memory. So this is definitely stacking into the playing tamers for low, or if you get an ability that lets you play a tamer for free, wink wink, you'll be able to gain memory and even extend your plays even further. So this is definitely a really, really good card for the archetype and much needed to be able to play those tamers and not pass turn, which is what the deck needs. In a pre-release, probably not. Again, tamers are in short supply. The blue tamer in this set is a secret rare, so you're probably not going to get a ton of value of this in the pre-release. It is a 6K level 4 though, so it'll definitely be surviving some checks. Next up, we have Mach Galgamon. This Digimon gains blocker and gets plus 2,000 DP for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand until the end of the turn. So, again, and then when an effect inheritable, when an effect adds a card to your opponent's hand, unsuspend this Digimon. So it's basically like give your opponent resources and gain an extra swing when there's just better cards that do better things. So this is literally just like Kroger brand every other blue card. So really bad. If you see this in a pre-release, like having a Digimon that gains blocker is pretty nice. So just like that alone gives it some value in pre-release formats. But other than that, it's an absolute doo-doo card. Next, we run Arrow Vidramon. Once per turn, by suspending this Digimon, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add all blue tamers from among them to your hand by placing, and then place the remaining cards at the bottom. And then, when attacking, activate one of your Rina Shiriyamas on play effects. So this will let you activate old promo or old Rina from the old set, as well as the new secret rare Rina. So this is really nice to gain additional effects when attacking. It is once per turn, so you won't be able to like super abuse this with the multi-attack effects, which I think is kind of meh. It would have been really nice to finally give like a broken effect to Ulforce, since Ulforce struggles with having protection from security. This effect is okay. I don't like if you wanted to do this and then like go into an effect that would unsuspend it like by like digivolving or something, that'd be really cool. That's a really cool gimmick. But if you just are doing this to try and get more value, you're putting yourself at risk to be swung over because you're just an 8K DP. So just suspending yourself and like not putting aggression or and potentially allowing yourself to be swung over is, I think, a mistake. So if you go into a Digimon that lets you unsuspend, cool, but don't ever just do this just to gain value. I think that's a bait. In a pre-release, bad card. It's an 8K, so it's an 8K level 5, which is pretty high up there, but but you're not ever going to get value out of its suspend. And if you pull the Rena, then cool. But the inheritables, it's a secret. You're banking on being able to play getting a secret rare. So bottom tier as far as pre-release cards. Next, we have Metal Greymon, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Shark. It's treated as a Metal Greymon and a Cyberdramon. It has Armor Purge, which does not count as it being an Armor Digimon. Keep that in mind. On play and when digivolving, important because you can do both. You can place one Digimon card with blue flare in its traits from your hand or under one of your tamers to the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Which is really good because you can do that without suspending your Kiriha, and you can add an additional source, so an additional inheritable. And then you bounce one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the bottom of the owner's deck. This is really good because of the floodgate blockers that prevent on play reduction are level 3s. So if you can play your Greymon for 4, Digivolve into this guy. I mean, it would be for 4, but you can Digivolve into this guy, bounce that level 3, and tuck another source under there, so you can tuck a male Bergermon. So then you have the potential to stun and swing, and you've kind of set up a Metal Greymon play for the next turn. So, or if you already have a Metal Greymon out and you're kind of stuck, and your opponent has a Floodgate, or your opponent has, a one of the Sistermon level 3s, or just an irritating level 3 that you don't want your opponent to get value out of, you can bounce it. It is a little counterproductive when you think about a blue flare needing like multiple bodies on board to get its effects, but uh, it's a Yume, so that's cool. And then if you did shove a Cyberdramon, the blue flare, there is the blue flare Cyberdramon that gives plus 1k on both on all turns. You can bounce level 4, which is a little more nice because you can bounce any troublesome level 4 blocker. And then once you do that, then you can start answer. Once you hit the level 4 threshold, then you can start bouncing troublesome Dark Knight Mon stuff, which this deck can really struggle with. We are finally on to blue level 6s. We have finally the level 6 for Blue Flare, Z Greymon. It digivolves from 2 from the Metal Greymon. Then when digivolving, you unsuspend it. Then if a card with Blue Flare or Crossheart in its traits is in the spawn's Digivolution cards, and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, gain 2 memory. So, if you have the full Wombo combo with Metal Greymon where your opponent has 2 bodies, you can swing, swing, stun something, unsuspend, swing, unsuspend, or swing, and then have yourself down, then go into Metal Greymon. And it is bracketed Metal Greymon. It's not Metal Greymon in name, so you can't do like Decker Greymon or this card is treated as Metal Greymon, so you would be able to Digivolve over top of this one. But like Decker Greymon or Metal Greymon, if you did, if you're trying to go for like Metal Greymon X, things like that won't work. You won't get the reduction. But you will get the reduction for 2 memory. So if you did go over a Decker Greymon, it would be a Digivolve for 1 because you would still gain the 2 memory back and unsuspend. So if you have a 3 memory or 6, if you are playing the Metal Greymon out like crazy, you can potentially swing 4 times total with this. Which is insane. It does have save too, so you can save it, and then you can save a blue Greymon and a blue male Bergermon. So So this basically saves everything except for the Metal Greymon, which is insane to set up because it saves itself. Then if you're running like a Shoutmon or a Shoutmon DX, definitely gives you the ability to do that. Other than that, though, this card's probably until we get Superior mode. The saving itself doesn't really help you. This Digimon has Blue Flare in its traits. It gains Blocker, which is nice, but in Blue Flare, you're not really playing level 7s. But you can shove, since this is Blue Flare, you can shove this underneath of a Cyber Launcher. Because it's just place a Digimon with Blue Flare. So that's something that you can do. You can definitely like create an inheritable situation. So this has more viability than I actually initially thought. Pre-release, it's meh. It is still an unsuspend. Like that's just a basic when digivolving unsuspend. So it is you can potentially double swing. So in pre-release format, this is probably good because it's going to get you 2 attacks. But you're not going to there's not a Greymon or a there's a Greymon, but it's not blue, and there's not a male Bergermon in this set. So you're not going to get those. You might get the Blue Flare or Crossheart gain 2 memory, but that's about it. So you can definitely get some value, but it'll be hard. But overall, it's a pretty good mega in a pre-release, and then insanely good in the Blue Flare archetype. Next up, we have All Force Veedramon. When digivolving, you can play a Tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's crazy, considering you have a Veedramon and a Vmon that'll gain you 2 memory. So digivolve for 4, play a Tamer for 4, gain 2 memory, keep turn. Just saying. And then gain your Tamers on play effects and all that nonsense. And then when you play a blue tamer, unsuspend this Digimon. That's also crazy, because then you go Aero Veedramon, suspend, look at the top 3, get a tamer, Digivolve. See where this is going? Once per turn, your turn once per turn when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, bounce a level 3 or lower, and then increase the level for each by 1 for each blue tamer. So immediately, when you unsuspend it, and it's just when it becomes unsuspended. So unsuspended during main phase and suspended during the start of your turn, anything, you're bouncing something. You're going to be bouncing a level 4 immediately. Bare minimum. I would say by the time you actually go into this, you've probably played another arena, so you're probably bouncing a level 5, which is insane. That's insane. And then and you gain memory whenever you play tamers and stuff. So this is insane, especially with the old Force Veedramon 2 that can swing every time a tamer becomes suspended. So this one, I definitely see being ran. I would probably do a 3-3 split between this whole force and the other whole force, just because they both have their niches that play into the same deck archetype. But overall, very very good card. In the pre-release though, it's just a mega that's probably going to pass turn when you digivolve, because you're not going to gain any of these other effects, because again, blue tamers are hard to come by. Mirage Galgamon. When digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. If no Digimon is returned by this effect, your opponent adds the top card of their security stack to their hand. All turns once per turn. When an effect adds a card to your opponent's hand, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your opponent's hand. This is definitely the best card in the Mirage Galgamon line. Definitely gives you some benefit, but like the line as a whole is still really bad. So like I would play this top end and not play any of the lower end stuff. So, and I mean, it's a bounce a level 5 or return the top card of their security stack to their hand. The top card of the security stack is the only thing you would actually ever care about, because there's so much bounce in blue anyway. And then cool, gain a memory when I bounce something. So I'm probably not going to pass turn with this Mirage Gagamon, but now it's a 12k with no protection. So vanilla, it's just a bad line, bad card. There's just a lot of the blue cards, especially blue level 6s, are just better. We are now on to yellow. We got Cutemon. Digivolve from a level 2 with Cross Heart and its traits. Cool. On play, place 1 Digimon with Cross Heart and its traits from your trash at the bottom of one of your tamers. If you have a Digimon with Darulamon in its name or has Darulamon Digivolution cards in play, place 2 cards of Cross Heart and their traits from the trash to the bottom. This is really good. I don't know as far as like room how that's gonna work, because you're already running so many level 3s and 4s anyway. But this does help you get around Crossheart's biggest weakness, which is bounce, because then you get all your sources trashed. This gives you the chance to come back from that, so I think that's really good. You're probably not gonna get any value out of this in a pre-release. It's just a 1k vanilla, but in the Crossheart deck, I think the new version of it that we get, this could definitely be ran as like a 1, maybe 2 of, but that's room dependent. And it just, like I said, it's not like a necessary card. It just gives you a chance to come back if like your stack gets destroyed or bounced to where you lose all those sources, and you need those to come back. But other than that, it's just a cute card. Clear Agumon, not to be confused with Toy Agumon. Also a level 3, 4k vanilla. It's the vanilla of the set and will be useful in pre-release, but you'll never see this get used. It's also a puppet. It has Agumon in name, which you might get some value out of, but most of them require it to be just an Agumon. Next, we have Stankrat. When this Digimon would digivolve into a card with Sukumon in its name, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. Always good. The fact that this has to digivolve for 1 in raising is terrible, but I guess that's the point of Stankrat, to be terrible. On deletion, if the Digimon has Sukumon or Edamon in its name, you can play a Chumon from your trash, suspend without paying its memory cost. Cool, so this brings itself back. uh, but yeah, this Digivolution cost I think is really going to restrict the deck as a whole, having your rookie have to be this. There's other Chumons, sure, that have other, one of which being a Mem blocker, which is really good. But this one, like, since it doesn't have an on-play effect and it has to Digivolve for 1 in raising, I think this is just bad overall. Kotemon, we have a rookie blocker for yellow that cannot attack players. That's it. It's gonna be. This would be really really valuable in pre-release because it's a rookie, so it's a cheap. Cheat you can digivolve and raising, push out, and have a blocker, which is nice. Other than that, though, this card is bad. Angemon. If you have a purple Digimon or a purple Tamer in play, you can play one Devimon from your trash without paying its cost. It is hard Devimon, not Neo Devimon, not Dan Devimon. It is just level 4 Devimon, but this will let you play if you run this like deck that I think it's going for, the Angel Fallen Angel deck. You can play the blocker Devimon, you can play the retaliation Devimon. I don't know why that popped up. There's uses. I think this was a very niche card. Can Digivolve on yellow or purple. I think this is a neat card for if you do decide to run like a Fallen Angel style deck. I think that could be really cool. But there is a Devimon in the set, so you can get value out of this in a pre-release. But outside of its own like archetypal deck, I don't see this being very good. It is very thematic though. Centauramon, finally, you can place one of your yellow Digimon on top of your security stack face down when digivolving. This is neat. It's recover 1, so basically you can shove a security Digimon back into your security stack when you digivolve. This is okay. It does require you have another board presence to do it. And it's a Beastkin, so I don't really know where this fits in a deck, but I definitely think it could have a home somewhere. Really, really good in a pre-release format, though, being able to increase your security with very limited recovery options in this format. Next, we have Poop Man himself, Sukumon. On deletion, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add one Chumon, Sukumon, or Edamon and its name from among them to your hand. Trash the rest. And then, if this Digimon will be deleted, by deleting another Digimon with Sukumon and its name from the field, you can prevent that deletion. So it's like the decoy Sukumon. It's okay. It's a champion that has 1K, so like you swing and it lets you delete and search your stuff, and then if you have the Chumon, you can play the Chumon. So like it's okay, but again, you're digivolving for 2. Like I get the point of this deck is it's a meme deck. It's supposed to be bad, but like it's irritatingly bad with its stats and its digivolution cost. It is playable for 3, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems bad, and like like you want to have this in sources, but you also want it to be deleted. So I don't know. Edamon can digivolve from a level 4 named Sukumon for 3 instead of 4, but it is a 4 cost Evo. On play or when digivolving, you can trash a card with Sukumon in its name from your hand or from its Digivolution sources, and then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3k and minus security attack minus 1 until the end of your opponent's turn. This is like, I mean, I guess if you wanted to cap off with like a Venusmon or something, but like, cool, like I might delete a rookie and then like stop one of my opponents, and it's an so it's got to be the same Digimon. I'm assuming. So like you're either killing a rookie or it's like cool, you're not going to be able to swing over me and check a security for a turn, and I paid 4 to evolve into this, or hard slammed it for 7 when you could hard slam a Magna Angemon and recover 1 for the same thing. And then when this Digimon would be deleted by deleting another Digimon with Sukumon in its name, prevent the deletion. So it's the exact same effect as Sukumon. Just bad. Just bad. Continually just being bad for no reason. We are to Angelwomon. When digivolving, you may search your security stack for one Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in straight, reveal it, and add it to your hand. If you add a card to your hand, recover one, then shuffle your deck. Your turn, once per turn, when you play a Lady Devimon or a Mirimi or Kagure, gain one memory. And then its inheritable is while you have a purple Digimon in play, all of your Digimon with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in their traits gain blocker. This card is insane. Actually insane. Being able to basically ditch TK and just be able to like, all right, cool, I'm going to look at my security for whatever piece I need is insane. And then getting a recovery, and then being able to play your Lady Devimon for 5, like the Lady Devimon from the last set, being from the starter deck, being able to play it for 5, or playing Mirai. I think she's a 5-cost tamer too, so being able to play her for 4 is insane, especially when you think about what Mirai can do. This card will be mandatory. I don't know what ratio, since there are a lot of good Angelwomons, but this will be a mandatory card. King Sukamon, King Poop Man himself. Digivolves. He is a level 5, which is good. So this is your alternate level 5 in the Sukamon line. Same thing, Digivolves for 4. On player when Digivolving, if your opponent has 16 or more cards in their trash, or if you have 3 or more cards of Sukamon in their name in your trash, one of your opponent's Digimon becomes a Sukamon with 3000 DP to the end of the turn. And then when attacking for each other Digimon with Sukamon in its name in play, this Digimon gains security attack +1. See, if this was for each Sukamon, like if you get to do additional, this like it was like, oh man, I have 6 Sukamon in trash. So this card can become, I can do 2, and then you could actually like swing and do something cool. Other than that though, it's just like cool. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna activate the Sukamon ability to delete your dude. Gimmicky AF. I think it's gonna be. I think it'd be a fun meme mechanic. Like, hey, I'm turning all your stuff into poo, but just like, why couldn't you make this like slightly better? There's no reason because like the effects aren't busted. There's no reason these couldn't be a 3 to reduce the 2. Metal Edamon, 3 cost finally, like a normal costing evolved Digimon on play. Because we're gonna be playing that for 11, or when Digivolving. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, then you may play any number of cards with Chumon, Sukamon, or Edamon in their name from among them with a play cost of 7 or less without paying their memory costs in the trash. Again, why? Why does it have to be 7 or less? Why can't it just be play the Sukamons? Like just play all of that. Because or like just play any of them as long as they have a play cost of 7 or less. Why has it got to be a total play cost? Because like these cards don't do crazy stuff. So this is like, when Digivolving, go into this guy, reveal, hope you hit King Sukamon, play King Sukamon to turn somebody into a Sukamon. But then it doesn't have rush, so you can't swing. So, cool. Like, I don't know why they insisted on making this really bad. It could have been a really cool, fun deck and still not been busted. Clavis Andromon. When Digivolving, if you have 5 or fewer security cards, recover 1. And then on your opponent's turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. It's meh. I mean, it's an uncommon, and it reads like an uncommon. 4 cost to Digivolve, a cap on recovery, and then you can give something minus 4,000 DP. Like, this is just a worse Dynasmon. We are now into green. We've got Agumon. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 Tamer from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So, non-color restricted, add a Tamer. Really good. If you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP. Really good. This is a really good uncommon. This is a really good. It's got Agumon in name, so it can play into that stuff. If we, we know Agumon's going to continue to get support. So I think this is a good card. Is it the best card? No, but it's okay. In a pre-release, this could be okay. If you do pull Tamers, it is a 1K, so it's not going to be living any swings. But if you do pull some of the other like lower rarity Tamers, definitely something that you could be cool. Palmon, start of your turn, draw 1. Insane. A really, really good card. It's vegetation, so it plays in Bloom Lord, which can, throw out Digimon like nobody's business, and then just draw a card on the start of your turn. That's insane. Insane in a pre-release. This is probably one of the best cards we've seen so far as generic value. Next, we have Madoki Betamon, the vanilla Digimon for green. That's all I'm going to say about that. Oh my gosh, Vegemon, carnivorous plant, which I'm pretty sure is a part of the vegetation uh, umbrella. Start of your turn, gain one memory. Okay, cool. Just make it even better. Ninjimon. Don't go Ninjin where you don't need Ninjin. Once per turn, start a turn. If you have once per turn when you play a tamer, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. This is meh at best, bad at worst. It's a five. I mean, it does Digivolve for two, which is okay. But again, it's a play a tamer, and green doesn't just like play tamers like crazy. They play like one, maybe two, uh, per game. So like there's just better ways to suspend stuff. So this is just a card. And even in pre-release format, it's like you would just run. There's better level fours. Next, like this Vegemon, which is also insane, so you can gain a memory in pre-release. Vanilla Ogremon. It'll be good in a pre-release. That's all I have to say about that. We have Tyrannomon, because they want to give him support, but they can't make it good. You can play one tamer with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost when digivolving or on play. Then while you have a tamer in play, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP. So DP boost is nice. It is an on play, and this is only a 5 cost, so you can potentially play. You can potentially get like 8 memories worth of play. But the fact that it won't let you play a memory tamer is bad. So this is, and it digivolves for 3, which is stupid. There's no reason it should cost 3. Other than like, hey, we got to make him pay for the tamer somehow. So this is just bad for no reason, and it could have been really good. Vanilla 10K green card, gonna be really good in a pre-release. You won't see it played anywhere else because it's a perfect type, so it can't be played out for free. It doesn't have any archetype or type interactions, so it's just a vanilla that'll be good in a pre-release. Panyamon, playing into that Leomon X Leomon stuff. It's treated as a Leomon. When digivolving, you can play a blue or green tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying memory cost. Really good. Really, really good. And then once per turn, when you play another Digimon by an effect, one of your Digimon gains Rush, aka when you play your Leomons for free via your Tamers, they gain Rush. Or when the X effects take place when they die to play Leomons, they gain Rush. So as long as this stack survives, you can play it. You can play out your Digimon for Rush, which is insane. And it lets you play, so you can, when Digivolving, play your Jerry and play another Leomon. So that's all I'm saying. This is a really good card for the Leomon line. Something that the deck sorely needed. Metal Tyrannomon, we go from green red to green black. Cool. For each green or black tamer you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's suspended Digimon cannot unsuspend during your opponent's next phase. This is actually an okay effect. Unfortunately, you're probably never going to want to on play this, and it digivolves for 4. So it's pretty much requiring you to have the Taiga for cost reduction, which I think is just unfair. Because the deck it doesn't do enough anyway. And then its inheritables when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash top card of your opponent's security stack. That's a once per turn, but it is okay. It's a good inheritable, but again, like, why does it cost 4? It could just cost 3. Because you can't, like most of the time you're going to be digivolving this and raising. Because you're not, at a 4 cost, even if you reduce it to 2, you're not going to be able to go into your big stuff without passing turn to gain effects of the multiple suspensions. So, meh. It could have been so much better. Gigimon digivolves on black, which is cool. When digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You can play one tamer card from among them without paying its memory cost. Then place the remaining cards at the top, at the top or bottom. That is interesting. So you can just, if you don't see something, you can actually control what you see. That's really good. When attacking, once per turn, for each green and or black tamer you have in play, reveal the top card of your deck. You may play any number of green or black Digimon cards with a total play with a cost of 10 or less without paying memory cost. Place. This is better Tyrannomon support than Tyrannomon's line. This is insane. This is actually a really good card. I like this card in all ways. Like, it's good in pre-release, it's good in decks. I mean, it doesn't have like archetype, and typing lineups with a lot of decks, but this is a really good card. Sleeper pick for sure. Definitely deserving of the super rare. This will be a good card. Titamon, green purple, piercing, cool. Digivolves for 4 on purple or green. 12k DP. I mean, this is probably gonna pass your turn, which isn't good. When digivolving, you can trash up to 3 cards from your hand for each card trashed by this effect. Spend one of your opponent's digimon and gain 1 memory for each. Okay, so you can potentially digivolve this for 1 and swing over something, which is good. If you have a way to like unsuspend, like if you have like Dimension Scissors or something, this could be a really cool combo. But again, it's green purple, which means you're going to be lacking security protection. So like as soon as you hit a security card, you're just dead. But you will have plenty of DP because green has plenty of DP boosting. So like you're not gonna die to Digimon, but like as soon as you hit an option, you're gonna die. But this can be a really really cool card for sure. And as an uncommon, crazy. Uh, and then this card will be insane on a pre-release, being able to basically because it's not color restricted, so being able to just like suspend 3 things on your opponent's board and then just swing over one of them guaranteed with piercing is going to be really really good. Hercules Kabuterimon X Antibody. Digivolves 1 from a Kabuterimon, Digivolves 4 from a green regardless. And security attack +1, and then when digivolving a Hercules, Kabuterimon, or X antibodies in this card's Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon bottom of its owner's deck. Why couldn't this stage suspend and then bounce? There's no reason it couldn't. Like, just keep shooting green in the foot for no reason. Especially like Kabuterimon support. Like, why they got to do my man Kabuterimon like this? This is you're going to be digivolving for 4 in a pre-release setting, and you're not going to get this effect. So it's a sec +1 for 4, which is going to be decent. Just don't expect big things from this card. Rust Tyrannomon, 13k, 13 to play, 5 Digivolution cost. When one of your Digimon would digivolve into this card, for each green or black tamer you have in play, reduce the cost by 1. So odds are you'll probably have at least 2, so it'll probably be a 3 cost when you digivolve. All turns when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, unsuspend this Digimon. Also really good. So theoretically, if you have like a poop ton of tamers, you go into a Digimon, which lets you play a Metal Tyrannomon, which lets you digivolve into this guy for free, potentially. So, really cool interaction. I think Digimon is probably the best support that Rust Tyrannomon's ever got. But this card by itself is okay. Again, like they're forcing you to play it in Archetype by making it a 5 cost, and cool, you can swing twice, but there's plenty of, and you have to delete a Digimon in battle when there's plenty of Digimon that just say when attack, just unsuspend. I mean, I guess like with the Metal Tyrannomon, you can trash security, and so you could potentially like trash like 3 or like yeah, this is what whenever deletes a Digimon in battle, so you can delete a swing over a Digimon, trash the security, unsuspend, swing again. So like, but so it might as well have sec +1. All turns, this Digimon can't return to its owner's hand or deck via your opponent's effects, so it's immune to all of the bounce effects of Gaomon and Gaogomon. Okay. But other than that, it's just a 2K vanilla rookie. Okay. I mean, I don't see this card being used at all. Maybe if like bounce becomes a problem, like this could be like a rookie rush answer, maybe. But yeah, this just seems like a meh card for no reason. Vemon, new in-archetype support, new basically the new version of Eosmon / D Reaper, because you can include up to 50 cards with this card's name in there. Main, by suspending this Digimon, keep in mind you can't suspend Digimon the turn you're playing it because they don't have Rush. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Actually, I think you could do that, but either way. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Snatchmon, Destromon, Galacticmon, or Fusionize, aka all the pieces of this deck's archetype from among them, and place 1 Vemmon from among them at the bottom of this card's Evolution cards. And then return the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. And then once per turn, this Digimon would digivolve into Destromon or Galacticmon, reduce the memory cost by 1. So every time you suspend this card and shove another Vemmon underneath, you reduce your Digivolution cost by 1. Agumon X. Finally, to the beginning of the boogeyman of the BT-11 format. This Agumon digivolves 0 from an Agumon, just like any other X antibody. Digivolves for free from a level 2. Is a 4 to play, which is gonna hurt, but at least it doesn't cost 1 to digivolve in raising. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or X antibody in its name, and 1 Black Tamer from among them to your hand. Place the cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is really good.
having to choose between a Greymon or an X antibody it can sting if you ever do see like the double value you would normally see from a Agumon X, the red one. But being able to add your Tamer to your hand, especially Yuya, which is like what a big part of making this deck's like unbeatable stack, and it's the only way to search it without playing like the Tamer search Red Agumon, in which but this lets you get double value and not bottom deck your Tamers, which is really good. I know a lot of people are opting to run this at either one or two or not at all, but I definitely think this is something that you need to think about including in higher numbers. In a pre-release, this is probably not going to get you a ton of value. It does have the inheritable as well. All turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name. If an effect would delete it or return it to the hand or deck, you can return 1x antibody to this Digimon's Digivolution cards. So this is a new form of protection, being letting you get rid of X antibody instead of releasing the two level Digimon of the same level, like the Greymon inheritable. And because this is a rookie, you can potentially stack this on top of the a regular Greymon X or an Alteris mode and have multiple levels of protection that way. But again, probably X antibody doesn't exist in this format, the option. So this inheritable will not be valid in any of the pre-release formats. This might be valid if you just pull a lot of Greymon support. Other than that, it's just going to be a hard play for four. Garymon, Yellow Numamon A. Also treated as Numamon. And then by trashing one card with Numamon, Sukumon, Nanomon, or Edamon in its name, draw two. I think it's a good card for a really bad archetype. But other than that, it's meh. It's a level 4 that you play for 3 that's got 2k and is not playable off of the King Edamon. So, you know, there's that. So this might be like as a 2 of, maybe. Uh, Greymon X Antibody, the linchpin of the Blackwork Greymon BT-11 deck. Digivolve 0 from Greymon, Digivolves 3. Uh, if you have to Digivolve it over anything else, your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1 for each color. Meaning if it's 2 colors, it's 2 reduces it by 2, which is so important for Black War Greymon to not pass turn when they go into the Metal Greymon, which is memory inefficiency is this deck's biggest weakness, and being able to mitigate that with this card is what makes the deck be viable, being able to finish a turn on a Mega from the champion level, whereas before, if you're on the champion, you'd have to decide between Digivolving and Raising and losing out of that effect, so you could safely go into Mega next turn, or putting yourself at risk to play your ultimate to digivolve into your ultimate because you would be weaker or be susceptible to destruction. And then it has the exact same inheritable as the Agumon. Again, this effect will not be viable in a pre-release. This effect, if you pull the Metal Greymon X, will be good. But you're not. There's not another Greymon in this set, so you're not going to get the cost reduction. So you're going to be digivolving for 0. So I think there's just better level 4s in a pre-release setting. Next, we have Snatchmon, part of the Venmon Galacticmon support. When digivolving, you may place 2 Venmon from your trash at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Then, if the Digimon has 4 or more Vmon and its Digivolution cards, return 1 Vem fusionized from your trash to your hand. All turns, when you return a Venmon from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of your deck, unsuspend this Digimon, it gains blocker. So, Inheritable is going to give it blocker. This lets you shove even more dudes underneath, paired with his Inheritable, which lets you, whenever you digivolve into a Destromon or Galacticmon, reduce the cost. So you're going to just be adding more cost reduce and then adding the Fusionize option, which we will get to later. Tekamon, a really expensive rebooter. That's what this guy is. He's a machine, so he could play into that, but he doesn't have any inheritables. So, bad card overall. Gigajimon has jamming and gives reboot. It's okay. You can play it in Machine Dramon. Uh, Giving reboot's cool. I think there's other cards that do that, but if you have this and then the Mega Dramon from the past set that gives blocker, you'd have reboot blocker, and then it has jamming on its own, so you can free swing if it's ever on the field. Memimon. We always love the Memimon support. On play and when digivolving, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Play 1 Tamer with a play cost of 4 or less from among them without paying its memory cost, and then place the rest on the top or the bottom in any order. Top or bottom again. Very, very key. Especially for Memimon, which likes to set up with like its catch Memimon being able to, and Sengen Doken. to be able to play stuff off the top of their deck. And then when you play another Digimon via an effect, one of your Digimon gains blocker to the end of your opponent's turn. So that's good. So you Digivolve into Bancho Mamimon, do your things, and then give Bancho Mamimon blocker. I think it's a good card for Mamimon for sure. But in a pre-release setting, this is the only Mamimon I'm pretty sure. And you're not going to be playing too many Digimon via an effect, so this is probably useless in a pre-release format, but definitely a good card for the Mamimon archetype. Metal Greymon X Antibody, phenomenal art. 4 to Digivolve off of a level 4, which is insane. Digivolve for 1 for a Metal Greymon, which is important. Not effective in a pre-release, but it's there. Red and black. When Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, when your opponent's effect can't reduce this Digimon's DP, and it can't be de-Digivolved. Then, if it has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Then it's inheritable when a Digimon becomes unsuspended. If this Digimon's name contains Greymon or Omnimon, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So Greymon unsuspends all the time, even on your opponent's turn, especially the new one. So you're probably always going to get this regularly. This will not. This is probably the one inheritable out of the Agu line so far that you could actually use in a pre-release, but probably not. Um, you're not going to get the this effect in a pre-release. But this part right here is what another part of what makes Black War Greymon so strong. Being immune to DP reduction, just cucks yellow, hardcore, and then not being able to de-digivolve lets you it also counter your mirror match, which most decks don't counter themselves. This deck has an innate counter to itself, dodging the de-digivolve from the black Metal Greymon. And then also from black security rookies. And then being able to blow up something with 6,000 DP or less, that's blowing up level 4s. So can also help you get around Armor Rush if that's a thing that comes back. Kills your opponent's Greymons if they're on the field, forcing them to burn protection if they have to. So this card is insanely versatile. I'm surprised it's a rare. I've seen SRs with worse effects. Destromon, 10k level 5. Digivolve 6 from Vemon, but remember the cost gets reduced per Vemon inheritable. And then when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Place 1 Vemon from among them to the bottom of the Digivolution cards. Trash the remaining cards. Then this card has 5 or more. Delete one of your opponent's Tamers. Tamer hate. Always good. When your opponent's Digimon attacks by returning 2 Vemon from one of your Galacticmon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of your deck, switch the target attack to this Digimon. So you can force your opponent to attack your Galacticmon if this is the inheritable, or if you have 2, you can kind of bounce the attacks. And with all the Vemons you'll be running, these cards are going to be relatively cheap to Digivolve into. And this is a big dude. And then also being able to give blocker via the Snatchmon inheritable is going to be crazy. Muso Nightmon. Nightmon support, also treated as Dark Nightmon or 2 Waramon, so that's good. When Digivolving, you can place 1 Digimon with Nightmon in its name or Bagra Armory in its traits from your hand or trash to the top of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Then if this Digimon has 2 Waramon in its Digivolution cards, Digivolve 3 of your opponent's Digimon. So this card counts as itself for its Digivolutions, which is really good. So you could go Dark Knightmon and that. It is only -4, so this will have to be hard played for 6 to Digivolve one thing for 3, which does not touch Metal Greymon, by the way. On deletion, you can return 2 black or purple Digimon cards from your trash to your hand. I think this is just eh. It can Digivolve for 2 onto Dark Knight onto a black level 5. But I just don't think you would ever include this in a Dark Nightmon deck. Bagra Army maybe, because Bagra Army has those tamers that reduce the costs, but definitely not in the Dark Nightmon deck, which is the deck that I think is the better of the 2 that this could go into. Now we're on to everybody's favorite Machinedramon. On play and when Digivolving, which is really good for decks like these, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 Analog Man, which is the Tamer, among them to your hand, and add 1 card with Machine or Cyborg in its traits from among them to your hand. Then place the rest of the... add it to your hand or to the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, which is really good. Trash the rest. By on deletion, by returning one of your analog man in play to the bottom of your owner's deck, you can play one machine Dramon from your hand without paying its memory cost. Okay, and so you can add a machine Dramon to your hand to be able to be played off of your analog man with this card's on play and when digivolving effect. I think it's a good machine Dramon card. I think the deck is still struggling to find its home and its place in a meta, but I do think it's a good machine Dramon card. Justamon New Fist. Digivolves from one from a Justamon, and then by returning one non-Justamon Excel Arm level 6 card from this card's Digivolution card to its owner's hand, it gains security attack plus 1 and piercing. And then when attacking, if you have a Tamer in play, you may Digivolve this card into a non-Justamon Excel Arm Digimon with Justamon in its name for 2 memory ignoring its Digivolution cards. So this lets you basically Digivolve into this guy for on top of a Justamon for 1, and it's name contained, so not Justamon. It's any Justamon that, including itself, funnily enough. Uh, so you can return if you digivolve off of like a critical arm for 1, then you can return the critical arm to your hand to give it security attack plus 1 and piercing, then swing, then digivolve this guy into critical arm again to do the things again. So it's probably the most efficient mode changer in and is as a welcome addition to the deck. But now your top end is starting to fill up, but it's still struggling to get a bottom like an actual ladder to prop this mega up, and I think that's where this deck falls short. Um, this card is not. I mean, you can digivolve on top of itself in pre-release, but you're not going to get any of these other effects. So I think this is just a vanilla card in a pre-release that costs a bunch. But in the deck archetype, I think it's an option, but I think it's suffering from too many level 6 options and not enough options in the actual ladder itself. Big Daddy Black War Greymon digivolves for 2 from Black War Greymon. It has reboot, so like I said, it will unsuspend on your opponent's turn, giving you the Metal Greymon X's inheritable to trash security. Once per turn, when you're on your opponent's turn, when your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP attacks, you may switch the attack target to this Digimon. So you can just basically pseudo block an attack with a 13k DP dude. Okay, and then opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, a Digimon, yours or theirs. If this Digimon is Black War Greymon or X Antibody and Evolution cards, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. So, as soon as he reboots, if your opponent only has one Digimon on the field, you delete that Digimon, and then you trash top card of their security. This deck is good. Even in pre-release, digivolving this card for 5 and having a Digimon that has reboot and can redirect attacks is insane. Like, you're not going to get this like deletion effect, but you will still get the attack redirection and a 13k rebooter. So still really good. Purple vanilla card. It's a larvae, not even an insect. Ignite Mon. It is a reptile man and it is a cross art. Digivolves for 0 from the Starmon's guy. By deleting one of your other Digimon, delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a level less than or equal to the deleted Digimon's level. This is meh. Yeah, it's pretty meh. When you play Digimon by an effect, gain a memory. Meh. This would be really good in like a Bagger Army deck, but it doesn't have Bagger Army, so this card's meh. Chikurimon. It is a Bagger Army. On play, by deleting this Digimon, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Bagger Army as traits from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then on deletion save. So you play it, you blow it up, you shove it under your Tamer, and then you replace it. It replaces itself in your hand with another Bagger Army card, and then when a Digivolution card is trashed by an effect, gain a memory. This is a Bagger Army card. Yeah, nothing more to say about that. Soulmon. It has Retaliation, which plays into a lot of Retaliation style decks. All of your Digimon with Retaliation get a DP boost. Really good. Really good for Retaliation style decks. There's a lot of cards that play Retaliation Digimon for free, and being able to give them a DP boost is phenomenal. Dark Rizamon. Retaliation, and then on deletion, draw a card. Oh, so with a Soulmon, this card, again, if you play it for free, can be a 6k with Retaliation that draws a card when it dies. That's really good. The counterpart to the yellow Angemon we saw, the Devimon that it wants to find, I guess. While you have a yellow Digimon or a yellow Tamer in play, this Digimon gains Rush and Retaliation. So, if you have a yellow Tamer in play, and your Angemon dies, this guy pops out and he swings with Retaliation and Rush. That seems pretty good because that's two swings. Seems pretty good. In a pre-release format, this is probably not going to. I mean, I actually think this is actually pretty decent because it'll just be a five. If your opponent gets you 5 memory, you can play it for Rush, or if you promote it. So, or if like you play a rookie and Digivolve it for 2 or whatever. As long as you have yellow, you can get a Retaliator as well. Mad Leomon armed mode, which is not going to play into Leomon decks as even if you want it to. Opponent's turn. Once per turn, when an effect adds cards to your opponent's hand by trashing one of this card's evolution cards, you can draw 2. So when they activate an effect to draw a card, you can draw 2 by trashing cards. That's cool. On deletion save, and then it Digivolve crosses with a Mad Leomon and another Bagra army to reduce it by 4, making it a 2 cost to play, which is pretty good. Opponent's turn. When this Digivolution card is trashed by an effect, gain a memory. A whole lot of gain of memory through Digi source stripping effects. So like if somebody like strips some cards with like a Sorojo, gain a bunch of memory. Tuaramon, the card that also goes into Muso Nightmon. Digivolves for 1 from a Damimon. Otherwise, it's going to cost you 3 off of a black or purple. It has Decoy Bagra Army, so you can protect your other Bagra Army cards with this card. All turns, your Amano Tamer cannot be deleted. And then on deletion, you may play 1 Damimon from your trash suspended without playing its memory cost. And then when this Digivolution card is trashed, gain a memory. So more of the Digivolution card trashing, gaining memories. Replaces itself with its pre-evolution when it gets deleted. Protects your Tamer. And this is actually a really good card. This is a really good card. I like this card a lot, especially for the Bagra Army archetype. Other than that, it's meh. Lady Devimon, the other half of the Angelwomon we saw. When Digivolving, you can trash 1 card from your hand, and if you do, you may return 1 Mirai or 1 card with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel, and it's traced from your trash to your hand. This recycles your all of your top end. If you're running or Deanmons, if you're but mainly it's going to return your Mass Days and your Ophani Fall Downs, as well as your Tamers if they get blown up via like a Hades Force or something. And then your turn once per turn when you play an Angelwomon or a Mirror Kage, gain 1 memory, so reducing the cost of the other half again and its Tamer. So if you have both of these in play, like this and the Angelwomon, you can reduce the cost of Mirai by 2. While you have a yellow Digimon in play, all of your Digimon with Angel, Archangel, or Fallen Angel in their traits gain Retaliation. So let's scroll back up to the Angelwomon. So this gives Blocker, and then this gives Retaliation, and they are both. This is an opponent's turn, and then is this one? Yeah, they're both opponent's turns. So on your turn, you won't have Retaliation, but if you do the Mastodon cross, you'll have a Blocker Retaliator, which means your opponent definitely has to think twice about swinging in, even with their bigger stuff, which I think is really really cool. Blue Miramon is a Retaliator, which is always good because again you can play. There's lots of cards to play Retaliation for free. When Digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2, so that's pretty okay. And then when you play Digimon via an effect, gain a memory. So you go into a whole stack, play your Retaliators for free, gain some memory for it. Seems pretty good. Da, 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 da. These cards are okay in pre-release. They're just basically bodies. You'll probably, this one being a draw 2 trash 2 and a Retaliator, you'll probably get more value out of. Waru Seadramon. Seadramon support. On play, when Digivolving, you may play 1 purple or blue level 3 Digimon card from one of your purple or blue Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost. Okay. And then once per turn, when enough Digimon is played. So this card is actually really good because it gains you memory in the fish deck. It Digivolves for 4, which is insane. But if you can tuck this as a source underneath something and then play it out and you get that effect, really, really good. So you tuck this as a source, you play another thing, and then gain a memory, and then play this. So definitely, especially if you go into like Aegistermon on the turn that you get this guy, you can definitely get Digivolve for cheap. Mervamon, the other half of Minervamon, the card that we were supposed to get years ago, feels like. When you would play this card, you may also place cards from your trash in its Digivolution cards for a Digicross. So you can give it sources. It won't necessarily reduce the play cost because you're playing it, most of the time you're going to be playing that for free. Uh, but you can since you can do it from your trash as well, and it doesn't have to be just from under your tamers or from your hand. So you can do a lot of the Mad Leomon like trash stripping to shove stuff in your sources, and then do it that way. Um, and then on play or when evolving, you may play one purple level 4 or lower Digimon, or one level 4 or lower Digimon card with cross arts in its traits from your trash without paying its memory cost. If Digicrossing, add 1 to the number. So number of cards you can play. So you can play this on player when digivolving, and you can potentially play 2 cards if you use this Digicross effect, which is good. I mean, so then you can shove out like 2 Digimon that have rush and retaliation, because all turns, all of your Digimon with retaliation or cross art in traits gain rush and blocker. So play out 2 retaliate level 4 retaliators. They have rush. 2 Soulmons plus 4K on each one of them. Retaliation, swing with rush. And then its Digicross is -3, and it's 1 Digimon with cross arts in its traits. So, play it for free, shove a cross art underneath, get an effect. Next, we have Lilithmon coming at us in a rare slot instead of its traditional SR. On play, trash, because you're going to be playing that for 11. I know it's the tamer, but I still don't like it. Trash the top 4 cards of your deck, then add up the 2 cards of Bogger Army and their traits from your trash to your hand. Then place up to 2 Digimon cards of Bogger Army and their traits from your trash under one of your tamers. Opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon moves from the breeding area by trashing 1 card, then Digimon's Digivolution cards, that Digimon gains when attacking, lose 3 memory for the turn. That's really good. It can prematurely end your opponent's turn. Forces them to kind of play slow, or like when they, be more careful when they promote out. So it's neat. We finally got Bagramon for the Lord of the Bagra Army. On play and when digivolving, if your opponent has 1 or fewer Digimon in play, look at your opponent's hand, trash card from among it. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, you place one of your opponent's Digimon under one of your opponent's other Digimon as his bottom Digivolution card. All turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon digivolves or when an effect adds cards to an opponent's Digivolution cards by trashing 1 card in this Digimon, trash top card. So you digivolve, you either trash a card from their hand, or you shove a card underneath one of their other Digimon and then you trash top card of the security. It's a good card. I don't think it's a phenomenal card, but I think it's a little overcosted, but I think it's a good card. Next we are on to the Tamers. So we have Akiho Rindo on player. View the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 red Digimon with vaccine and its trace from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. When you play a red Digimon with bird or avian or 4-beast animal in its traits, except sea animal, by an effect, by suspending this tamer, gains rush. So it is not a memory tamer. That's something to keep in mind. It is on play, search for some stuff, and then when you use the Phoenix Mons effect to play out a dude, that dude will have rush. So it can give you an extra swing. It's cool for the deck, but again, I still think the deck archetype is just weak in general. Let's see what the Doo-Doo Tamer is going to do for the Doo-Doo deck. One of your Digimon with Galmon or Galgamon gains jamming. Cool. When an effect adds a card to your opponent's hand by suspending this tamer, gain a memory. This is a bad tamer. It's okay. Well, no, it's okay. It's okay tamer for bad archetype. Taiga. All of your Digimon get plus 1,000 DP. Okay. Non-color restricted, just a flat 1,000 on your turn only though. When one of your Digimon would digivolve into a level 5 or higher Digimon card, you may suspend this tamer to reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. This is a good generic tamer, especially for green. I assumed that since he was the tamer for the Tyrannomon archetype, it would have to be a Tyrannomon style. But like having a tamer that can reduce the Digivolution cost of your level 5 or higher by 1, especially when most greens are like 4 or 5 to Digivolve on the level 6 end, like it makes those costs a lot more manageable without HPD. So I think this is a really, really good tamer. I don't know how much play it'll see, because like green again doesn't traditionally play a lot of tamers, but I think it's a good tamer for sure, and it will definitely be a good tamer in pre-release just because it gives you a flat 1,000 DP. Analog Man. By trashing one level 5 card with Cyborg in its traits from your hand, gain 1 memory and draw 1 card. Okay. Opponent's turn. When your opponent's Digimon attacks a player by suspending this tamer, you may switch the target attack to one of your level 6 Digimon with Machine in its traits. Okay, so he basically is a pseudo redirector for your Machine Dramons. Trash is a level 5 card, so he fills up your trash for your Machine Dramon plays and gains your memory and draws a card. Very good tamer for the Machine Dramon deck. Not very good outside of that, but good for that actual deck archetype. Yu Yu Kuga, the tamer for Black War Greymon. He is a memory setter, so already we are doing good. And then, your turn. One of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name. By suspending this tamer, the Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So, that is a plus 2,000 DP on your turn and your opponent's turn, so it can protect you from bigger bodies trying to swing over you if you commit to a swing. And then, if you do an X evolution, or if you digivolve into a Digimon with the same level, that Digimon is unaffected by your opponent's option cards until the end of your opponent's turn. Unaffected. Not doesn't activate, not doesn't do this, not to do it. You cannot look at this card the wrong way with options as long as Yu Yu Kuga is in play. So when that means when you are free swinging at your opponent's security, because you will have a with this tamer. Because if you go into War Greymon X or Black War Greymon X, it will be a minimum 15k with a DP boost that is unaffected by options, and then it is unaffected on your opponent's turn as well, so they cannot return degrade you. You'll be immune to DP reduction, immune to digivolve. It is insane. And it's there until the end of your opponent's turn, so it's a blanket effect, which means even if this tamer leaves, like if they blow it up somehow, you'll still have all those abilities. Insane. Insane tamer. I would struggle to run less than 3, but a minimum of 2 in any Black War Greymon deck. It's a memory setter, so if you get it in a pre-release, it's really good as well. Mirei Mirikage, a 5 cost to play the first SR Tamer. Start of your turn, gain 1 memory. So if you start at 2, it's automatically a memory setter, and if you get put to 3, it's value. It's consistent value. It is non-restrictive memory gain. Your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into an Angelomon or a Lady Devimon, if you have 1 or less Digimon in play, which is an interesting wording considering your Digimon would have to be on the field to digivolve into one of these guys. But I get it. It's probably future proofing. But if you have 1 or less Digimon in play, by suspending this tamer, you may play 1 Angelomon or Lady Devimon from your hand with a different name from the Digimon that played. So it plays its other Jogres half for free. So you can have your Gatomon digivolve into the Angel for 1, and then suspend this to play the other Angel for free, and then do your Jogres nonsense. Mandatory for, I would probably say at least 2, but at least 2. 3 might be pushing it since it is a 5-cost tamer, and there's not a good way to play a tamer for free. But overall, good card. In a pre-release, I probably wouldn't play it because it's a 5-cost tamer, and you're probably not going to get a whole lot of effect out of it, even if it is to 1 memory. Taiki, Kiriha, and Nene. Um, if I'm not mistaken, since this is not specifically a Kiriha Aonuma, I don't think you could play this off of Blazing Memory Boost, so I think in the Blue Flare deck it's probably going to struggle a little bit. The start of your turn main phase by placing 1 Digimon card with Cross Heart or Blue Flare in its traits under this tamer, gain 1 memory and draw a card. It doesn't specify where it has to come from, so I'm wondering if there's like a translation error here, because it just says by placing, so I don't know if this can be placed from your hand, if it has to be on the field, or if you can shove it under from trash. So depending on where this forces it to come from, or since it is all 3 of these guys, it might be from anywhere. This has a lot of potential implications in all of their decks, depending on where you place this from. And then your turn, when you play a Digimon with Digicross requirements, by suspending this tamer, you may place, it has the general effect, so it's a substitute general. potentially a really good card depending on the final wording of this and whether or not the Taiki, the Kiriha, and the Nene, like if they can be played off of their Digimon and options that play them. Magma Bomb. When you would play this card, if you have a red Tamer in play, reduce the cost by 1. So it is a 5 cost that deletes your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. I think it's a good card. I think it's really good in a pre-release. But it's a good card. It's not a great card, but it's a good card. Crimson Flare, not to be confused with Crimson Blaze. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000. It's a 5 cost. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. Then if you have a red Tamer in play, activate one of your on-deletion effects of one of your red vaccine Digimon. This is okay. It's the option for the Phoenixmon archetype, letting you activate an additional on-deletion effect, so you could play an additional body. So theoretically, you could swing, play out a dude, suspend your Tamer, give that dude rush, and then play this. But like it's still gonna be a 5 cost, so it's probably gonna end your turn. So like, and or you could if you activate your Phoenixmon, like if you have the other lines, you could potentially gain like a memory. So it could cost 4. But overall, I think it's a pretty weak option. Maelstrom. You may 5 cost blue option. You may play 1 blue Digimon card from one of your blue Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost. Then, if you have a Digimon with Seigermon in its name, return one of your opponent's level 4 Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. This is an okay card for Fish Deck. This is an okay card for Fish Deck. It's Kaiser Nail, but for Fish Deck. Ice Statue. When you would play this card, if you have a blue Tamer in play, reduce the cost, so it's a 5 cost. Trash top 3 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to its owner's hand. This is a good card. This is a good card. I don't know, like, where it would be because it's very situational. Like, if your opponent has more than 3 Digivolution cards on one of their bigger stacks, you're not going to be able to bounce it, which would really suck, especially if you're playing this for 5. But this in tandem with like a Sorojo could be devastating to an opponent who's got a bigger stack and is trying to, beat you and like trying to basically outlast your Sorojos. Megalospark, 5 cost, but if you have a yellow tamer, it'd be a 4 cost. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8,000 DP till the end of the turn. This is a pretty decent card. If you have a tamer, it's low end DP reduction, and 8k is a pretty decent number to where you'll be able to kill something or swing over pretty much anything that's not like a level 7. So I think this is a good card. Holy Sunshine, when you play this, if you have Yellow Tamer, reduce cost sets to 7. 3 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP. This is a terrible card. This is so bad. Like a 7 cost that gives 3 of your opponent's Digimon minus 5,000 DP and security attack minus 1. There's just better cards that cost less. Like I could Purge Shine and give everything minus 3k. And like this security attack minus 1 is okay, but like there's cards that do that inherently. This is a bad card. Really bad card. Hi, Mega Blaster. Choose one of your opponent's Digimon with one of your Digimon with Insect in its traits. Suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon with GP less than or equal to the chosen Digimon. Then one of your opponent's suspended Digimon doesn't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. This is meh. Its security effect is suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon, but as we saw with like cards like Flower Cannon and cards that just suspend. Once your opponent knows that they're there, they can pretty much play around it. This doesn't stop, hybrid Digimon. It doesn't keep them suspended if it comes out of security. So, and then this effect, like there's just better cards. This is a bad card too. Decently costed, but I think just a bad card. Poison Powder, 3 cost, but if you have a Tamer, it has a 2 cost. Okay. All of your opponent's Digimon gain all turns when this Digimon becomes suspended, lose 2. This is insane. This is an insane card for like Bloom Hydra or any like you suspend Pomamon, you play this, you go into Bloom Hydra, you play Pomamon, you suspend, you get the Bloom Hydra effect to gain memory, and they lose a memory off of this. That's insane. And I think it said to the end of your opponent's turn, so they can't even swing. That's good. It's a balanced ice wall for green. Buster Dive. Green 4 cost option. When you would play this card, if you have a green Tamer in play, it becomes a 3 cost. One of your Digimon gains 5,000 DP and Rush. Then it can attack one of your opponent's Digimon. This is okay. This is okay for green. Like it gains you basically pay 3 to give one of your Digimon a huge boost, but mainly rush, and then it gets the Chaosmon effect of being able to attack your opponent's Digimon whether it's suspended or unsuspended. So that's cool. In tandem with Gigimon, this has crazy potential though. Fusionize, the option mentioned by all the Vemon cards. When you use this card, if you have Snatchmon in play, reduce cost by 1, so it's free if you have Snatchmon. By placing one Venmon or Destromon from your trash at the bottom of one of your Digimon's Digivolution cards, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into one Destromon or Galacticmon in your trash. So, just letting you recycle your options, and then Snatchmon lets you pull this card out as well. Very, very recurable deck for sure. Cootie's Kick becomes a 1 cost if you have a Black Tamer in play. One of your Digimon with Numemon, Sukamon, Nanimon, Edamon in its name becomes unblockable and gains on deletion, gain 3 memory, and then has the security effect of reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play one Black Digimon with a play cost of 3 or less from among them. This is okay. I mean, if you're building the deck, you're probably running it. This card adds to hand, by the way. I forgot to mention that. And then this one, security effect, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Play one Venmon from amongst them without playing its memory cost. So that's okay. Hades Force. Another one of the reasons why Black War Greymon is so filthy. This is a 7 cost option. Black and red, so you do have to have both, but it's super easy with the deck. And then if you have a Digimon with X antibody in its Digivolution cards, reduce play cost by 2. So it is not just Black War Greymon or have something. It's a Digimon with Black X antibody in its traits. You can play this for 5. Then you can choose any number of your opponent's Digimon and Tamer, so you can do both, whose total play cost adds up to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name in play, or less than them, and delete it. Then one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name may attack one of your Digimon. And the security effect is delete your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So let's just go up here. This is a 13 play cost. So is Gaiomon. So you can go into this guy, or regular Black War Greymon. Let's say you have Black War Greymon. Yeah, you have Black War Greymon on board. You shove an X antibody underneath. You play this guy. Black War Greymon is 12 cost. You delete 12 costs worth of bodies on board, Tamers or Digimon. So you're pretty much clearing the board for 5 memory. Then you swing and Digivolve into Black War Greymon X with X antibody for 2. So that 2 you got refunded from the X antibody, you can shove back in this. So you pass your opponent 7 memory, but you have just cleared their board, Digivolved into a uninteractable stack if you have Yuya on board, and checked a minimum of probably, you could probably call it 2 cards, because as soon as he unsuspends on your opponent's turn, you're gonna trash it with the Metal Greymon X inheritable. So getting rid of 2 security and blowing up your opponent's board and having a 15k body that is uninteractable. That is why this deck is rated to be tier 1 in the next format. DG Dimension is a 8 cost, but 7 if you have a Black Tamer. Digivolve 3 one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete 3 of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. This is a pretty decent card. I don't know what deck will run it. Potentially Machinemon. But I think it's a good card. Just being able to delete 3 Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. It's not a total, so that's deleting some level 5s, but most level 4s and all level 3s. So you play this, and it's kind of a pseudo board wipe, but I think you would probably just play Go Schwarmer instead, I think personally. But this does let you Digivolve 3 too, so then you could potentially get rid of a big stack as well. Astral Snatcher. Activate its main effect and security. This is the Bagramon option. You may place up to 3 Digimon cards of Bagra Army and its traits from your trash at the bottom of one of your Digimon's Digivolution cards, or at the bottom of one of your Tamers. Then if you have a Digimon or Tamer with Bagra Army and its traits, place one of your opponent's Digimon under one of your opponent's other Digimon sources. So you play this for 7, and it can trigger your Bagramon's effect, and this is also one of those new this and the Digimon itself is a new kind of removal. If your opponent only has one Digimon on board, you can't really do anything. But like This is probably one of the only ways that you can get rid of Black War Greymon. Because as soon as they commit like a Search or Agumon to the field, you can shove Black War Greymon underneath Agumon, and it's gone. And then it's just a 3K, which is really, or just a rookie, which is really easy to handle on from a purple standpoint. So this card, I think, this card is gonna be a sleeper pick for dealing with Black War Greymon. Evil Squall, 8, but you can reduce it by 1 if you have a Tamer. Delete 3 of your opponent's unsuspended level 5 or lower Digimon. This is a pretty bad card. Um, the restriction of having them having to be unsuspended and only being level 5, like, this is just worse than, like, Trump Sword or some of the other things that are at least unrestricted level. Like, you can't have both. You can't have, like, 2 levels of restriction on removal because it just makes the removal bad. Now we have the secret rares. We have Big Daddy Galacticmon, a 14k, 14 play cost, 6 to Digivolve on a level 5, 9 to Digivolve from a Snatchmon. When Digivolving, you may place 4 Vemon from your trash at the bottom of this card's Digivolution cards. Then, if this Digimon has 8 or more Vemon as Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. So something to keep in mind, this does say you may place up to 4 Vemon from your trash at the bottom. You will not get the cost reduction from those Vemon because you've already paid the cost for the Wind Digivolving. So just keep that in mind. This won't. It's not like a play if you have 4, place 4, and this cost all of a sudden costs 2. So that's something to keep in mind. You do get to delete a Digimon though. It's unrestricted Digimon deletion if it has 8 or more Vemon. All turns when this Digimon would leave play, you may prevent that by returning 4 Vemon from this card's Digivolution cards to the bottom of your deck. And then start of your main phase, you just trash the top card of your opponent's security. This is a really good card. This is a phenomenal boss monster for that deck. It is level 6. If you could get this out, even on another deck, just having a card that's at the start of your main phase just trashes the top card of your opponent's security, and being a 14k body alone, if you can reduce this cost in any way, like with like a win rate 60% or something, this card has definite implications for sure. And then the last secret rare is the first secret rare tamer we've ever had, Rina Shinomiya. On play, one of your Digimon with Vmon or Vdramon name gains blocker and evade. Evade is an insane mechanic that lets you dodge deletion by suspending yourself, and with the suspend and unsuspend mechanics of Vdramon line, you can do this pretty consistently. All turns when one of your Digimon with Vdramon in its name becomes suspended. By suspending this tamer, activate one of this Digimon's when Digivolving effects. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon unsuspends, gain 1 memory. So, yeah, so you can play this card, give something for free with the Vdramon in this deck, then give it blocker and evade, and then when one of your Digimon becomes suspended, so when you block or evade, you can suspend it and then activate one of its Digivolution effects, which would let you play another Tamer, or, gain memory, or or no, it's when Digivolving. So yeah, you could play another Tamer for free, and then you gain a memory when one of your blue Digimon unsuspends, which I think you can do that like once per turn or whatever. So, or if you have the All Force Digimon and it's your turn, you can do that multiple times. Yeah, so it's your turn once per turn, so you can suspend, unsuspend, gain a memory, or this card has insane implications with a Vdramon deck, but Vdramon still suffers from not being able to attack into security options, and I think that's where it really struggles. Well, that is a wrap for all of the cards for BT-11. These are my opinions. Shout out to DigimonCard.dev for giving us this representation of all these cards and these translations. I hope this helps your deck building going forward, as well as your potential deck building for sealed formats as well. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments below if you think that, or disagree with anything that I have said, or if I brought a card to your attention that you maybe thought or didn't think was that valuable. Definitely let me know if I helped you out. Other than that, this is Tofu Bandit signing off. Have a good one.